Welcome back to the Weekly Manga Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all of your favorite ongoing Japanese manga. This week, a brand new manga from the author of Red Hood and the Outlaws hits Weekly Shonen Jump. We'll be talking about Odor of the Flame. We also catch up on Akane-Banashi as she faces her biggest challenge yet, and One Piece has to be on the docket this week simply because Robin is the main focus. All that, manga news and more, coming right up. Hello again, my name is Bruce. I am the proprietor of the White Gray Black YouTube channel, and this week I am joined again by my constant co-host Gautam.
Hello, hello.
Special shout out and thanks to our Patreon subscriber, Yaji Black. If you want to have your name read at the top of the episode and see some bonus content, check out patreon.com/WGBmanga. It starts at only $3. Let's talk about Odor of the Flame. This is by Yuki Kawaguchi, who I mentioned at the top of the episode, is the previous author of Red Hood and the Outlaws. Gautam, give me your quick thoughts. How did you feel about Odor of the Flame Chapter 1 here?
It was pretty good. It felt like a stock standard Chapter 1 for like a shonen thing.
Yeah.
But I like the setting. I thought that was great, and I like the art too. But it's a little strange. I've just seen all these beats before, so nothing really sparked like any huge interest in me yet. But it also wasn't bad. So I guess what I'm saying is it's up to how like the next few chapters play out.
Yeah, for sure. This is what, oh gosh, what was Icehead Gill, that thing from a year and a half, 2 years ago? This is what that this is the better version of that story. Like,
yeah, I'm curious if I hated Icehead Gill, or I don't think I even hated it. I think I just found it very forgettable, and I hated how the main character looked.
It was that, but I even remember when we did our Chapter 1 sort of talking about it, that the best part of it was sort of like, oh, well, it's like the setting is cool, and it's cool that he's fighting like Draugr and stuff, so, yeah, I basically agree with you on all fronts here. I didn't think that this was nowhere close to the best Chapter 1 a series has had in Weekly Shonen Jump, or in any magazine for that is, but it was good. It certainly wasn't bad. I thought some of the art was really cool. I do definitely like the setting. I will appreciate every time we are not getting sorcerers in Tokyo like that. So super appreciate this being, Norse and very sort of, there's lots of little culture things in there that we'll maybe talk about as we go through it. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. It was good. Wasn't great or perfect. If the next 2 or 3 chapters can kind of keep up the pace and keep being good, then yeah, this could be the next thing. I've seen a lot of talk about this on social media. People seem to really like it as a sort of like, we're just getting another good shonen. So, which is all we really want from Weekly Shonen Jump. So,
I thought Red Hood was way more interesting than its reception and how quickly it got axed. So I'm happy to see that they're doing more. Also, you mentioned it, how it's like its own unique thing. Were you there when the lad exorcised, like did some exorcism on a bunch of possessed Vikings? This is an exorcist manga, Bruce.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Maybe.
It's all exorcists.
It is everything's an
all
exorcist
the way up.
manga. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go through the chapter here and talk about it a little bit. It is pretty standard beat by beat. We have Odor, obviously our main character. He lives in a kind of snowy world. We're told that kind of the snows came and they were supposed to go away with spring, but they have not. He's got a little sister. Again, more classic shonen stuff. Like this is Demon Slayer, all that stuff. They've all got little sisters. It's classic kind of cute little shonen protagonist stuff. We find out that Odor is going to be going to the fortress. He's going to be a cook. He says, my duties will be keeping fires lit and warming up mead. And we get a little bit here where it's sort of like, well, Odor wishes he could be a fighter. And this is part of what I really liked about this is the And just from my very general high end knowledge of Norse mythology through like playing 2 God of War games and, you know, a little bit more research, I guess, is that the idea of like being a warrior, dying while fighting and going to Valhalla is sort of just the thing that like the Vikings want. Like that's what they want to do. So it makes sense to me that this kid is like, well, he wasn't really chosen to do the thing that everybody wants to do, but he still wants to, like, you know, a lot of times the shonen protagonist is, you know, my goal is to be the best at thing. You know, I want to be a hero or whatever, right? Like it's just super like nebulous and unclear. But this one I think culturally makes a lot of sense. Like you're a Viking dude, you want to fight, and it comes up later in the chapter a bunch too, where it's like he kind of just would like, okay, good, I'm gonna die and go to Valhalla because I'm fighting. Like awesome, like which is I think culturally appropriate and good. So.
And it also comes back up later that everyone's different like path of the warrior is it's not all about fighting, right? Cooking is also like a warrior's job. So yeah, I don't know. It's all cool stuff, and I like the character designs. It's just like it all looks really good.
Yeah, to be honest, as far as the art and design in this chapter go, I think I think it's pretty dang good. Like definitely some of the spreads at the end, but I really like this. I like this page here. I like that we have the sort of Norse like edging around the outside. You know, this is our little historical like, oh, the ice. I like that it's simple where they don't have to make up some name. It's just the Ice Kingdom, and we're the Green Forest Kingdom. It's like, good, don't complicate it, keep it simple. Like you don't have to make up a name for everything. Like don't drop a whole bunch of proper nouns on me. Like I'm as much fantasy and sci-fi and stuff that I read and consume. One of my big pet peeves is, we maybe have talked about this on the show, but renaming things that already have names or like making it too complex. Like I will complain to no end about the Gamjabar in Dune. It's a poison knife. Like just call it a poison knife. You do not have to rename a poison knife. We have poisoned knives in real life. You do not have to rename that. Like you do not. If it's a chair,
you're right.
Do not rename a chair. Like it's a real thing.
Okay, you're right about this. But for Dune in particular, I think that whole series is about being extra. You know, renaming everything.
It's a bad
look
example.
Look at Duncan, Idaho.
Yeah. I mean, Duncan, Idaho's a great name. That is,
it's the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard in my life.
I love it, man.
It's like in a serious D&D story where someone names their character like Randy Roundhouse, and he does roundhouse kicks.
That's also a great name.
It's a great name, but it's like the one joke character in a serious story kind of a feeling.
Yeah, it's less about that. It's more about like the do not, like, if you're trying to be high fantasy or sci-fi, it's like, if a chair exists, like, don't call it something else. That confuses the readers when you, like, drop a bunch of proper nouns and people can't figure out what they are. Like, I read the opening of Dune, and, like, the first time you read the very first chapter of Dune or the prologue or whatever it is, you will not understand what the hell is going on. Because there's so many proper nouns. Like, the weird box, the torture box is named, the Gamjabar is named, there's all of these proper nouns, and it's like, you're not supposed to understand it. That's kind of part of the world building, is like, you don't get it and you slowly do, but I really don't like the sort of like, drop a bunch of proper nouns and figure it out on the way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But we do have Oda here kind of reciting the Norse myth stuff, like, oh, the spear of Inga, hero of the northern seas, pierce the whale and cleave the glacier. And his sister kind of talks about this in a little bit. Yeah, another kind of classic shonen thing. It's like, you're too kind, you're too nice to be a warrior. Yeah, but I think his sister gives him some of the village's holy flame. You know, of course, you know, I'm sure the spirit. This is also maybe where the spirit comes from at the end of the chapter.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, probably won't be of any real use, but I'm sure the spirit inside this will warm everyone up at least. Yeah, some fire spirits sneeze, chased out winter or something. Yeah, so we get the "May the spirits protect you," which is a prayer, greeting, send off type thing in this world. The sort of opening pages here, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. I feel like as soon as I saw this guy, I was like, okay, cool, I'm in. Like, this guy looks sick. Like, this is classic.
Yeah, it's just really a funny contrast seeing this like
It's
bubbly looking anime kid next to this hardened Viking.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that later. It's also, I mean, and this is another testament to how good the art is. Is like classic, the Viking ships, longships that we've seen. The rowing, the shields on the side, like all the art and design and stuff there. It's like cooking on the side of an axe. Like that's cool, man. Like I watch some, survival outdoorsy YouTube videos. They'll cook on the back of a shovel. Like that's like a thing that they do.
That's
like,
sick.
Yeah, so like again, like the sort of culture and world building here, I think is really great. But yeah, so Oda gets to the fortress that he said. Yeah, he kind of interacts with a bunch of the warriors here, who I think like are great. Like this guy like snaps off this. He's like, "Can you still wield a sword?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll keep fighting till I die." And he's smiling about it. This guy's like, "My door to Valhalla hasn't opened yet. I'll fight again and die." Like again, they very much reinforce this idea that like dying and going to Valhalla is the best end for anybody here.
And it's a point of contrast versus our main character disposition, right? And
yeah.
I like this page better than the beginning, where the sister more or less tells the audience, "Oh, my brother is overly nice." That's his character trait. He's overly nice. I thought that was a little clunky, but I like this much better, contrasting his like niceness and will to live and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With the Vikings, who are all hardened badasses who are ready to die.
Well, and here's a question that we've posed in all the chapter ones from Weekly Shonen Jump that we've talked about, sort of like they all feel the same because it feels like they tell them to make them all the same, right? Where it's like it has to start at the beginning and you have to introduce the guy and tell me that he's nice and then things start. Would the whole chapter be better if we just like started on this panel and just like I think so.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking that if we skip the beginning part, maybe
give me the little history page and then just go straight into like he's leaving and he's gone. Like we don't have to know what he's leaving or be told what kind of person he is or whatever. Like just he's there. He's in the middle. He's in the fortress now.
I think we need the stuff with his sister. That's like one. Like you can maybe flashback to that, but
flashback to it, yeah. But for sure. But cool. So they yell at him. We get this is what I've seen a lot of social media on is the muscle mommy, which apparently is a thing for this author. There was one of these in Red Hood and the Outlaws, I think.
For sure.
Yeah. Her name is Alajoki, captain of the fortress. I think her head is too small, and it bothers me. But
I think she just has big armor, man.
I mean, those forearms are pretty massive. Like that's not a small.
Yeah, that's
not a small forearms.
That's true.
I do think we'll probably get like she'll dress down or have her armor off, and the head will look better maybe. But yeah. So we see Oda here kind of like giving a like may the spirits protect you and breathing. Is it? I think it's later, but we get a little bit about how like the breath is part of the spirit and breathing.
It's in like the next page.
Oh yeah, it's literally like the next page. Yeah,
or actually, it's in that page. Sorry, we just glazed over it. It's the bottom right. Yeah. Wait, maybe it is the next page. But yeah, he says something about
it's like breath is part of the soul. Like that's why your chest starts to hurt when you run, and why the dead stop breathing. It's a very sort of like old timey thing, but in this it's fantasy, so it's like it's real. Say breath has some magical significance. The fire may be lasting longer because it's swallowing up some of your life. Don't let it swallow up everything and kill you. Yeah, so this is again the idea that we're going to get a little bit of a how do I say it? Like a mutual. I've traded some of my soul to power up my fire familiar, who I get at the end. Yeah, and I really like this part too, where Oda's like, "Can I have a sword?" He's like, "My father died on the battlefield. I went to Valhalla." He's like, "I want to fight too." He's like, "Everyone's risking their lives. If I stay back, blah blah blah." He's like, "I suppose if I die as a cook, I won't be able to see." He's basically like, "If I die as a cook, I'm not going to Valhalla. I'm going to whatever the middle." I don't remember what it's called, but it's
middle
not the good.
Yeah.
It's like the middle place where it's like, well, it's okay there, but it's not like Valhalla is like meat halls and drinking and everybody's happy.
Yeah, and the middle place is like a studio apartment.
Yeah, exactly. Looks around nervously. Yeah, but and again, this is a good part I thought where oh god, what's her name? I'm trying to remember. Alajoki. Where Alajoki here is like of course you will, like whether you're a cook or an armor polisher, like everyone on the battlefield is a warrior. Like this is your battlefield. You fight to protect everyone's mortal flames. Like live, fight, and die, cook. And she kind of marches off.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, we're gonna start getting into the spread pages that I think absolutely rock in this chapter 1.
Yeah, I love the monsters. They look awesome.
Monster designs are great. The spread is awesome. Like like every single dude in here like is cool and unique. Like, okay, this guy's a sorcerer. There's like the one-handed yeti. There's like a big giant dude. There's the two-headed yeti who we see a little bit later. There's like, I don't. Is this just like
Cyclops over there? Yeah.
Well, and this is like a mammoth with two guys riding on it. Yeah, there's a Cyclops. There's like Draugr, a bunch of cool designs, and they're like sort of creative and a little like fun also.
Yeah.
But yeah, they start attacking and blah blah blah. They recognize that like some of these guys are like Sulfo, like you died yesterday. And it's like they're using the risen. I mean, he says here like the enemy general is a sorcerer. He's using ice curses to tie souls to corpses and control them. So yeah, Oder. Yeah, basically everybody dies, like almost everybody. And Oder gets grabbed by this two-headed yeti kind of thing. And then the fire is kind of still burning in his little oven. And he's like, oh, it was on fire here too. The yeti guy kind of punches out the fire, and it's like, all right, the bonfires have been destroyed. Like, also, this is like the worst abbreviation of Beelzebub. It's like Beelzebul.
That's because he's not Beelzebub. It's just Captain Beelzebul.
Yeah, Beelzebul. It's like that. We could do better naming it than that.
Well, luckily this guy is a one chapter, one and done, so we won't have to.
I think probably yeah.
See Captain Beelzebul about anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, we have our muscle mommy shows up and starts cutting people down. And she's like, hey, cook. She kind of helps, and we get an ice beam out of the thing. This is kind of our big action scene. It's like, run. She says, run, don't let the flame die, which is a cool line. Like, she gets kind of fully frozen. Otir's kind of stunned. Of course, flashback before the big climactic moment. He's like, if I die in the battlefield, I go to Valhalla again. Silver coins sent to the family members left behind. Sana won't have to worry about food, right? Like, she'll get paid. Literally life insurance in 1200,
right?
Whatever, magical 1200 Norse kingdom. Yeah, we get, and this is kind of where a good part of his the kind of start. His sister says to him like I won't stop you from going to the battlefield. I know your dream of becoming a warrior. The way you annoyingly recite the sagas night after night is proof of that. And I kind of wonder if this is maybe planting a little bit of foreshadowing in like, if he knows all the sagas and all these fantasy things, maybe that's gonna like they'll run into all those things from the sagas, and that'll be like, oh, I know about you.
I think
this
so.
From this story.
Yeah, I imagine so. That would be a good way to do it.
Yeah, and from what I understand from Red Hood and the Outlaws, is it kind of was a similar thing, right? Where it was like they're interacting with like story, like fantasy story type creatures and
yeah,
people,
that was
I
the
guess.
intent.
Yeah,
that was the intent of it. It didn't pan out that way because it got axed, but yeah, that was certainly yeah.
But there's a lot of stories and sagas in Norse mythology that could be done, and there's a lot of cool people that he could run into. So I think that's a good little hint there. But yeah, more kind of good art that I think is cool. It's like, don't try to accomplish something through death. She tells him is like, through death the tales of warriors are passed down through sagas. That may be true, but didn't you also tell me once the sagas of the warriors who survived their battles and went on long journeys are the most epic and entertaining ones? Which is very much like this kind of desire to die and go to Valhalla is like, well, your sister's more right than you are. Yeah. It's like, next time I want you to tell me your own saga. I'll listen to it until the sun comes up, if that's what it takes. Beelzebul, conquest complete here. Oder's basically like the last person kind of left alive. He's kind of been stripped of everything. Again, another cool big panel here. Where
that's a great panel.
He's kind of clutching the fire and it's kind of exploding below him. We see that he's stripped to burn his own clothes. It's like, as long as I have fire, I can melt everyone. I won't die, and I won't let anyone else die. And very typical shonen power up incoming here. It's like, I need to leave this flame behind. That's all. This is my battle. And he's protecting the thing. Beelzebul gives him a nice good kick. Says freeze him. And we get the sort of the contract, the magical girl contract, you might say. Like, holy flame, I'll give you both my soul and my body. Just warm everyone's bodies for me. He says burn bright, and he gives him the kind of the sign off, like, may the spirits protect you, which is cool. And then he kind of inhales, he breathes out the breath to the fire spirit. Big explosion, and then some other cool panels. We get like absolutely bisected, quadrisected
Crab
bad guy
man.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get maybe my favorite probably panel of the whole chapter. Like just a very cool, he's kind of got like burnt hands with a like lightsaber fire sword here.
It looks like the Holy Moonlight Greatsword.
Yes.
Fire
Okay. Yeah.
edition.
Okay. I didn't even see that, but now as soon as you say it, I'm like, yeah, it does. Like it's turned on Holy Moonlight Greatsword where it's powered up. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We get kind of, what is that sword? The fire starts talking to him. It's like, you're a fire spirit. Blah blah blah. You're a warrior, which means your duty is to what? It's like, this is my thanks for giving me some of your life. Now I'm sharing my life with you. She gives him a badass outfit, which I think looks really cool. And he proceeds to go sicko mode on everybody. It's like, why aren't you standing up? And he's like, they've gone to Valhalla. But yeah, another good one here is basically just like, I'm gonna make you pay. I'll send you to Valhalla. Goes after the big guy.
Do Draugrs go to Valhalla? I guess if you're a warrior, you just go.
No, so a Draugr is like a soul that isn't like allowed to leave the mortal plane. It's like you meddled with the proud deaths of warriors and defiled souls that should have gone to Valhalla. So
yeah, but he says that, like, you're a warrior too. You'll go to Valhalla. Isn't this guy like a Draugr sorcerer or something?
I think everybody. I don't know. I don't know enough about Norse mythology to tell you. I think it's just like you die in battle, you go to Valhalla. Like that's what the Norse thought. So,
I feel like in Valhalla, like all the Vikings will like beat the shit out of him outside the bar. But
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, part of Valhalla is that you get to keep fighting like eternally. It's because it's like a good thing. So maybe it's just like, oh, he goes on the other team. He goes on blue team and red team.
Blue team, yeah.
Yeah, blue team.
And it's
red
just
team
like a game of CTF. Yeah, I get you.
Actually, this panel is probably the best one. This is a really sick panel, and the sort of like framing of it in the back with the circle and stuff. It's very good. And I don't know. It's very dynamic. It's very cool. It is a very good layout with from the top right down.
It's like the Legends page. The sister, like when she's speaking about warriors of legend who told their own tales. I think it's like the same backdrop, right?
Oh, maybe from this one or the one at the start of the chapter.
Yeah, it's similar. They're like the
it's like
border
a similar
framing.
pattern. Yeah,
similar.
I think it's similar.
The same like outline on the border. Yeah, it's similar.
And you can't get out of a shonen chapter 1 without he's just some brat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of he melts and saves everybody. And I actually kind of liked this twist at the end. I was worried that I don't know, like there was only really one or two characters, I guess, in chapter 1. I'm glad that we meet the fire spirit and it's like an energetic girl. Like I think that's fun. Her name is Filgia. I had to look up the pronunciation from this. I'm like, I'm gonna say this on the podcast. I have to see how it's pronounced. Her name is Filgia. So yeah, and she's like, I'll live and fight with you. Like, come on, it's time to fight. Yeah, we get sort of, hey, why'd you choose me? She's like, I don't know. I didn't really choose anything. Suddenly, I was just burning inside of you, but I think I might know why. I've taken a liking to your warm heart. Those who seek a death can't add more kindling to their stoves. Your heart was the warmest one on that battlefield, and I think that's all there is to it. I think that's pretty good. Stick your chest out. You are a warrior who's been chosen by a spirit. Sounds like a line right out of a saga. And he passes out. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
It's good. Yeah.
I would like in future chapters, because this was they had a lot to cover.
A lot of intro, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a lot to set up. Just the story in general. In future chapters, I want to see more of the main character's personality.
Yes, more character dynamic.
They just didn't have time for it this time. I get that. Yeah, so more of that. That'll be cool.
Yep. But yeah, like I think, like both said, good, not perfect or great. But definitely, if it continues being as good as chapter 1, it'll be a worthy read. Like it'll be fun, And to be honest, I think this is exactly what. Maybe this is what Weekly Shonen Jump has been trying to do and failing miserably at for the past couple of years. But like, just give me this like typical shonen story in a new location with a different power that I haven't seen before. Like, stop giving me Tokyo Exorcists. Like, stop it. I'm so tired. Like, I've been tired of it for years, and they keep trying it. Yeah, I don't like give me South American, thunder powers, or I don't know, just give me cool powers and cool settings.
Yeah, true.
Give me cool powers and cool settings, and if it's a decent enough generic shonen story, it'll have readers. Like we see that because Demon Slayer did that. Kagurabachi is maybe a little bit better than this, but it's just swords. Swords are the powers, and it's a little bit different. So, yeah,
Yeah, and I hope the story is kind of about like you said, him going through and meeting these legends, or like making his own tales.
yeah. The sagas are real.
Like, I hope the struggle is him retaining his like kind heart throughout it, because that's their contract, right? She is with him because he had a warm heart, and he was like the only one who didn't want to die and go to Valhalla. I hope it's about like retaining his will to live and being nice along the way without losing it in his journey. I think that would be an interesting story.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that there is more to talk about than just a kid going on an adventure and he's a nothing personality and the other side characters maybe are fun. That's kind of, that's kind
my
of the
fear
standard.
too.
Yeah, that is also my fear. My fear is that Odir is kind of a nothing, self-insert kind of type character, and then the other characters will be fun, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Either way, solid enough chapter 1. We'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, definitely solid. Would you say, do you remember your initial reaction to chapter 1 of Red Hood? Do you think this is better or worse? Because I feel like I heard Red Hood had a pretty good chapter 1 too, and then just kind of went too slow after that. But
to be honest, I thought Red Hood was much more interesting.
Okay.
But that's because it tried something like weirdly buck wild, and it had like a somewhat like suspenseful and creepy start to it.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought Red Hood got done dirty a little bit. I thought it had a strong start. It just took, how this all resolved its conflict in one chapter. Red Hood took like 6 chapters and died for it.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I guess I mentioned it, but like I think this is a pretty good design for the little fire spirit girl. Like I think she's cool. She's like got coal
I like her eyes
and lava, and her eyes look explodey, and yeah, I think she's cool. She also has multiple arms, maybe more than 2.
Yeah, it's because she doesn't really have a body or legs.
Maybe something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she's like the shadows are manifesting like arms. It's interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Cool design.
Yeah, definitely excited for more of that. Cool. Anything else on Otir of the Flame here?
Nope.
Cool. Yeah, good little series. We'll pay attention to it. Let's talk about Akane-Banashi. Probably the best writing in Weekly Shonen Jump.
Been a bit, huh?
Because the last time we talked about it was when Akane, was she still in France or was she just back? I think she was still in France. They showed like
last we talked about it, she just entered France.
Right. So, it was sort of like the time skip chapter, the first chapter after the time skip, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it's been 1 fiscal quarter.
Yeah. Cool. So she is the challenge here presented to her by her newly assigned guy whose name I forget, but he's one of the I cannot remember this guy's name to save my life. But yeah, he's basically like, you've got to win this competition of all these other Rakugo she's going against with her 2 kind of old buddies, old competitors. It's like, show that you can win without making the audience laugh. Which this is the greatest wrench to throw into this story, because I'm thinking historically back, and I think every single story we've seen Akane do is a comedy. Like, I don't think she's done any of the serious kind of drama Rakugo stories.
Yeah. And it's like completely out of her element, because everything is like down to her. All of her performances are about her charisma, her expression, and kind of subversions, and it's like all surrounding comedic beats and how she presents them. So yeah, I'm interested in watching her do a tearjerker.
Yeah, and definitely around.
It's Isho.
Yeah, Isho. Yes,
Arakawa.
Yeah. I was like, I'm looking for the last name, Arakawa. Yes. Yeah, I think this is also just super interesting because, like we mentioned, she's basically only done comedies, and she's very sort of exactly like you said, like high energy about, providing smiles and dressing up like a tanuki and doing all this kind of fun stuff. And even when, like, the only really serious Rakugo story we've seen, I think, is the death story. So I'll be interested to see what she does, but I definitely think this is like, I mean, it's just the easiest tee up for character development, like, of all time, right? Like, it's just so perfect. Like, hey, if you want to, because she's trying to, this lost story or whatever, that she's this sort of Arakawa story that she's kind of been left with. I think Isho knows that she's the one who can tell it, but she has to be better. And he's like, okay, you've got to be, got to learn how to do drama. So you've got to do it.
It makes perfect sense because he mentions to her that, like, in order to get to the next level, these are the 3 stories you need to master, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them being the God of Death, which is not a funny story at all,
right?
Is like one she has to master. So this is like a very apt challenge. Her frustration is more so at herself and him being a huge prick about everything.
Yeah.
But like, she needs to do this in order to be able to deliver on the God of Death performance.
Yeah, well, and I do wonder if that's the one she'll choose to perform at the competition, because it's what her master kind of was known for. Like, he's known as a really good teller of that story. So I think
she's going to do something new, because these 3 stories he mentions are the 3 MacGuffins of, like, in order to find the Akane piece, she needs to, like, be good at all 3 of these. And one thing, since it's been a while, one thing to mention is that her dad told the second story that Isho mentions. The one that got him canned.
That was the one that got him fired or whatever you want to call it. Yep.
I understand why that one would have gotten him expelled from Rakugo, since this is such a deeply personal story to Isho.
Yeah, for sure. And
that connection is making more sense to me.
For sure, and it also makes even more sense in that, like, this all kind of ties into Isho knows that she's been left or going to be the one to try to, tell this Arakawa story that's been passed down that no one else has tried to tell or could tell, and he's basically like, okay, you've got to master your master's story, the God of Death. You've got to master my story, which is that one, and then I don't remember the third one. That was from 2 or 3 chapters ago, but
he doesn't mention. It's like the third one is like. It's like it zooms out to, like, the environment, and it's like, so Akane heard it, but the audience doesn't know the third one.
So some kind of secret there again, which is that's a cool, that'll be revealed later. Another thing that I really like about this chapter is, like, man, Akane is the best character. Like, I like that she just is, like, mad and, like, throws a fit. She's like, don't make them laugh. It's like, that's what I do. That's what Rakugo's about. And he's like, okay, forget it then. Like, you're not good enough. I've lost interest.
I love it. He's such a prick. But Akane was like, she kind of got the better of the exchange last time they talked, when he was telling her about the stories, and then he also said that it's like, if you obsessively follow this track, it's like all an illusion. It's like, you're not, these lofty dreams of yours aren't achievable, and even if they are, at what cost, right? And she's like, she says, who are you to decide that? Like, so what if they're lofty? They're my dreams. And he loves that answer, but she kind of won out with a cool head in that exchange. In this exchange, she completely loses out because he's just right.
For sure. This is
Yeah, she knows it too.
It's a great scene to show that Akane still has growing to do, which is a exceptionally hard thing to do. Right? Like, maybe it's not that hard, but it's a thing that a lot of people get wrong, is like, well, how do you show your main character still having flaws and room to grow without, making them unlikable or making it forced or whatever? Where it's like, this whole reaction from Akane makes sense. Like, this is what she does. She makes people laugh. All the stories she tells are comedies. She's about bringing smiles, and, that's Rakugo is smiles to her. And so when he's like, can't do comedy, she's like, that's all I know. That's all I can do. You're literally,
it's a hamstring, right?
Yeah, you're like, I'm a professional egg chef, and you're telling me to cook a chicken. It's like, that's not what I do. So that's impossible.
I appreciate that, and I don't think it's because Akane is clearly scared of losing her strong suit and having to, like, compete with something she knows. It's like, she's done unfamiliar things before, but it's all been within her wheelhouse. This is an unfamiliar thing that's not within her wheelhouse, so she's like pushing back and a little scared.
And I do wonder, because we talk about, she'll probably tell one of the dramatic stories. I think that, I think it's like 2/3 of the stories are comedies in Rakugo and 1/3 are dramatic, or maybe it's the opposite way. But I wonder if she like retools a comedy story into a serious story and surprises people, or if she just learns a new story that's a drama. And I don't know. I'm curious to see though.
I don't know either, because this buildup was like her strong suit is improv, right?
Mm.
So I think you could be onto something in regards to like retooling a comedy story, or
Yeah.
like making a spin on it in some capacity. But I think that fundamentally changes the story. I think that's past improv. I don't know.
It does, but it's
We'll
one of
have to
those
see.
things I think that is like been done in Akane-Banashi before, that she's specifically done. She's, brought in characters from other stories into stories, and it's like, well, that's not how it's
Yeah,
usually
that's
done,
true.
but that's kind of what she does. So I do
Yeah.
wonder. This is a great page of a bad guy. It's just like, okay, it's like, oh, you're gonna yell at me? Like, all right, I've lost interest. Whatever.
Yeah.
I have no time for frivolous games between insignificant young pups. This like, I love her just like her face.
She's
there.
pissed. This is getting to her in like multiple ways. One, she's like out of her comfort zone. She's like hesitant to do it. But two, he challenged her ego, right? Which is Akane does have an ego in that
she knows she's good, and she is good.
She knows she's good, and she is good. Yeah, exactly. So, this is like a humbling experience for her.
Yeah. And I do wonder how this plays into, because the couple of chapters before this, she's with the guy who tells stories based on like exact timings. And she's totally like, well, that's like the complete opposite of my style. Like, she's always, pausing for laughter and creating new moments, and and doing improv, like you said. And this guy is like, nope, I tell the story in this exact way, and I know exactly how people are going to react, and I get it every time. So I wonder if those will play together with like, he will teach her this like exact timing dramatic story or something, right? And it'll all come together. But I don't know, because I thought that the upcoming challenge was going to be that Akane was going to try to tell a story the way that guy does, like by using exact timings and not improv.
It still is.
I think
it still is. She just has to do it in a dramatic story. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
because what she needs from him is for him to teach her God of Death. And in order to do that, she has to adapt her style to be precise instead of freeform.
Yeah.
So in this story, she has to tell a dramatic and precisely timed and toned story. So it's like she has two different restrictions on her.
Yeah. Which is cool, because she's had single restrictions before, and now it's like, all right, you're at what is it called? Ascension 2 Akane challenge.
Yeah, exactly. When you're so good that you have to play with a handicap.
Yeah. But yeah, super interested to see where this goes. I like how mad she gets, like, screw you, and throws her fan. Yeah, and she knows, she sort of admits defeat. She's basically like, he saw right through me. When I hesitated, he saw right through me and mocked me for it. When you said I would admit I was wrong, I suppose that was just, it's like, I'm sick to my stomach at him and myself. And now, beat both of them without being funny. It's like when both the sight and being a craftsman are mysteries that I have yet to unravel. Yeah, she's mad. I like that we get this curly haired guy again.
Oh yeah, the sales dude. I love him.
Yeah, Kaichi. He's really funny. And I love that there's this funny page turn right here where he's like,
yeah.
This page turn is great because it's like, oh my god, what is going on? And it's like, oh, he's an actor on a commercial or whatever.
Yeah, like when you're reading it, it looks like he's like, oh, Akane, I have to show you something, or he's like, I have to tell you something. Yeah. And then it just goes to, I hate to do this out of the blue, but your life is mine.
It's good. I also think it's really interesting, and it's cool how we see Rakugo, which is this very kind of old, specific art style, interacting with more modern art styles like television and, what's her name is a voice actress and all this stuff. And it's cool because it makes it relates it to things that we're more familiar with, because we're not really familiar with Rakugo. Like, no one in the modern age is that familiar with Rakugo. Like, it's a super niche thing. So
I think it's also the implication that you can't really make that much money from Rakugo, so they have to like do these other jobs and pursue their passion of Rakugo on the side. Or
sure.
They need to make their money elsewhere.
Or basically like only the masters can be only Rakugo guys. Like, everybody else has got to kind of do Rakugo and acting and voice acting or commercials or whatever. So
unless you have a scholarship like Akane, but
right. So she basically tells him kind of what's going on. He says like, well, you have to win a competition. It's like, but what if you ignored his orders and won with a comedy? He's like, would you be happy with that? And she's basically like, oh, nope, that wouldn't be good either.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't be able to climb up the Isho school. It's like the taller the wall you climb, the better it feels when you get to the top. This is literally Akane Dark Souls arc. Like,
yeah, totally.
More challenges, feels better when you overcome it. Yeah, it's like, it's great. Yeah, and she kind of gets it together at the end. He's like, that's right. Like fretting about whether or not I can do something. It's like, that's not me. It's like, I'm coming for all of it. It's literally, it's time to lock in Akane Arakawa.
Yeah, get fucking lock in, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. This is the best thing in Jump. I love yeah. I'm always hyped.
It's really good. It's so really good. Really good. And I love. I keep mentioning One Piece, but I love how they One Piece does its like side characters, because it has so fucking many that you introduce them and then you bring them back in like 2 arcs or 1 arc.
Yeah,
you bring them back later down the line. So you're always swapping from side character to side character, from arc to arc. And I like how it happens in Akane too, where you have Kaichi here show up 2 arcs later, and you have her original rivals come back
from the like second arc or whatever it was. Yeah.
But the good thing is you get to see them in the interim, so you see what they've been up to. You know, like these two weren't like written out of the story since their original arc. It's like you see kind of everything about them along the way. And you get a Kane story on top of that. So it's like just paced super well.
It's super good. Another thing that I was thinking about is how, and especially at the beginning when we talked about Akane, we talked about how it's sort of modeled after a sports type manga, where it's kind of about like, oh, here's the sort of, the tournament arc is here and she's getting, more skill but comes up against harder competitors and blah, blah, blah. And I think the thing that's really interesting about Akane that makes it, like, I don't want to say better, but makes it kind of have more possibilities is that even though it's still basically framed like a sports thing, right? Like, here's the next performance, or here's how this guy, executes the, this guy kicks the ball in this way and this guy defends in that way. Like, it's, you can line that all up with the different kind of Rakugo people and her finding her own style and all that stuff. What's more interesting about Akane is that in most sports manga that I've read, usually the blockers or and like everything is a personal antagonist on the other team to stop them, right? Like it's in Eye Shield, the guy's the super fastest, but the guy on the other team, they have the best sacker and he's the fastest. Like, and that's the thing you have to overcome. Or they've got the best defensive line and that's the thing you have to overcome. Or this guy, they have a really fast runner too, so that's the thing you have to overcome. I like that Akane has the thing she has to overcome is internal and inside herself. And it's not, it is kind of given to her by an external force, but her challenge is, you haven't done this type of story. You haven't done this type of performance. You're used to comedy and you have to do something dramatic now. You're used to improv and you have to do it this different way. And it's this internal, like, she kind of says it, right? It was like, it's like fretting about whether or not I can do something. That's not me. She's not worried about anything outside herself. She's worried about inside, which I think is really cool and like something you just can't really do in the kind of real quote unquote sports manga.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the only actual sport like where it's like purely internal is archery. But yeah, Akane is very much like that. It's and it's kind of perfect for a show that's all about characters, right? Or a series that's all about characters. It's all of the conflicts come from within as well. So yeah, it just works.
It's great.
It just works.
It's just super good.
And it still feels like a sports manga despite that too. So
yeah, well, and I was expecting, 2 chapters ago or whatever, that like, oh, okay, the thing that will be in her way here is that the other 2 will have gotten really good and she'll be worried about, can I beat them? But I like that it's like, it doesn't really matter how good they are now. Like, Akane has to overcome this inside her. And my guess is that because she won the last one, she probably won't win this one because she has all these limiters on her potentially. Like, that would be my guess, is that she gets like 3rd or 2nd or something. But we'll see, I guess. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm thinking the same thing, mainly because her pupil from France said that she's got this, which is like a death flag,
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be one of those like, oh wow, like she stepped out of her box, and it'll be one of these like, well, all the other Rakugo are like, holy shit, Akane can do everything, and then the judges will be like, well, she was okay, third place or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else on Akane-Banashi here?
No, great chapter.
Cool.
As always.
Yep.
I don't think there's a bad chapter of this, though.
No, there really hasn't been. Speaking of One Piece, it's time to bring it up. It's our quarterly, probably 3 times a year or so.
Yeah, our second Viking manga of the week.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is chapter 1148, which is crazy. Oh, also, we read 2. Stephen Paul translates both One Piece and Akane, so it's it.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, he's the best. He is the best translator I think that the West has right now. He's just the best writer as a translator. But yeah, we have Ranya here, kind of walking off the arrow thing that what's her name has made. The threat here is basically.
Let's have a quick chat about just to catch up. Before
we haven't touched
start.
Yeah, catch up. Lots of stuff is happening.
Yeah, so I think last we spoke, it was like the portrait chapter with the Joy Boy portrait on the tree.
Yeah, the big spread. Yeah.
Since then, they have they've met maybe the second strongest person in Roger's crew, after Riley.
Scopper Gaban.
Yeah, Scopper. He's just this old dude who he's like a funny guy.
I like him. Yep.
He's one of the giant's dads. And he's married to I forget what the giant lady's name is.
We see her somewhere. I don't remember. She's somewhere in there, but yeah.
She's the badass looking giant lady, and his son's name is Colin. It's a bit of a name.
I never even because yeah, it is that is his name.
Well, it's I also find Chief Ja Rule to be very funny.
I do. Chief Ja Rule.
What does Ja think?
That technically that would be pronounced Jarl.
Yeah.
Because Jarl is literally like his name is like Chief King. Like Jarl is like a title.
Yeah, it's like the Jarl of Whiterun. But
exactly. Yeah.
No, but it's just I keep reading it as Chief Ja Rule.
Well, now I'm gonna do that too. So thanks.
The little kid. All these little kids are like 20. That's the interesting part.
Oh, really? I guess I didn't line that up, but
yeah, he Scopper mentions that his son is 20.
Oh, okay.
But they're still children because it's like elf years in
because giants
fantasy.
Age slowly or whatever. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because Scopper Gaban is like 70 or something, and isn't his wife like 3 times as old
80.
as he is or something? Oh, okay.
Yeah, his wife is like 80. But yeah, so you meet Scopper. Scopper gives the Straw Hats the key to free Loki. After like testing them a little bit, the Straw Hats don't know who Scopper is. They just think he's an old dithering old fool. But they go over to Loki, who has had the shit beaten out of him by Shanks too.
Yeah.
And they undo his shackles, except for one shackle. Loki stands up and says, "Undo this last shackle, or I burn everything to the ground." And Luffy's like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, so you want to play it that way, huh?" And then Luffy punches him in the stomach. Loki passes out because he was bluffing.
Yep.
And now they're treating Loki. They patched him up, and Loki implies that he never killed his father, despite what others claim. And he wasn't lying about knowing where Shanks is. And Luffy is blundering, trying to keep him alive. Like, he puts a giant, overly hot piece of meat on his face and burns him.
Oh, yeah.
And then he brings him soup and spills it all over him and burns him on accident, too. And the other final thing is that these two, they're not elders, they're god knights. These two god knights. One looks like a little bit like Momo. He has like a Momo head, like a little dragon head, but like a human body. And he has like an astronaut space helmet. And then there's this old guy who's just like very happy and charismatic about killing children.
Yeah, so the names of these characters, because just speaking on names, this girl here is Gunko. She's the one with the arrow fruit that she like made a plane out of it earlier. The smiling guy here, this guy's name is Shepard Summers, and then the weird dragon guy. Do you remember his name at all?
I do not.
His name is Remo Shifu Killingham.
Killingham. Wow, how did I not...
Shifu Killingham. Yep. So
I feel like I might have glazed over his name.
I think I did too.
His name was Killingham. Then yeah.
I googled it because I was like, I need to get the names, and it's that dragon guy. That's his name, and he's the one with like the dream fruit that's kind of like making the dream things appear, right?
Yeah. Exactly. He has like a dream fruit of some kind.
Yeah, and then this guy has the like mind controlled fruit or something, right? Like
no, that's Killingham.
Is it the dream guy again? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this guy has a thorn fruit.
That's the thorns. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Because he's got the like invisible thorns around him.
Exactly. So basically where we're at is Killingham has put all of the kids into like a dream where they're just walking in a straight line to hold the giants hostage. And this guy's I forgot his name again. He puts thorns around the kids so they can't free the kids.
Yeah.
And the dream guy summons a bunch of nightmare creatures from the kids' nightmares and the adults' nightmares to attack them and stall them. And now they are making Ranja walk the plank.
Yep. And
to kind of hasten the hostage negotiations.
It's a threat because they tell them what they want is like, hey, you're gonna light the school and the library on fire. Like all this information you have on the past and the stuff that's dangerous. All the stuff that's dangerous to the world government, like burn it and we'll let your kids go. Which, yeah. So, and there's like a little bit of debate here. Is like the library holds the words of people across thousands of years in history. And they're like, obviously lives come first. It's like it's a truly interesting, what's the train car? What am I thinking? Where you switch the tracks between one.
Yeah, the lorry problem, right?
Yeah, it's trolley problem.
Trolley
problem.
Problem. Yeah,
kind of a trolley problem thing.
Yeah, and it is definitely a trolley problem thing. And one other thing to note is that this guy, Somerville, I'm forgetting his name. I just
Summers
shot with my gut.
The old guy Summers.
Okay, yeah. Summers stated in an earlier chapter that the old king of the giants were supposed to be mercenaries for the world government and were poised to be so, but the previous king, the one that everyone presumes Loki killed, changed all that, and it didn't go the way the world government wanted it to. And that's why the giant Elbaf isn't like a nation state of like the world government or like a territory of the world government.
Right. Yeah.
So presumably they ditched their warrior heritage in some capacity and didn't bend the knee to the world government, like fascist troops here.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, this is why I love this chapter so much. Kind of starts here. It's like, well, you bend the knee, blah blah blah. Robin here is like, you stay here, Chopper. It's like, we shouldn't fight without knowing for certain what their powers can do. It's like, but what are you gonna? She's like, I can't hold back the emotions that are running through me. Yeah, Nami here's running about like, you're literally gonna kill children. Yeah, and then Robin's like, okay, time to fuck shit up. And she does the coolest shit, which like I forgot that Robin could do, but she's done this like 3 or 4 times now. She grabs, she sort of fights and grabs Summers, and then it's like, they're immortal, you can't beat them. It's like, you've got 20 seconds till the kid falls. It's like, he's a zombie too. They have some kind of undeath powers. Everyone seems to think they're invincible, and I don't remember where that comes from, but
it's my theory, not to take away from the chapter again, but they mentioned that anyone who can traverse the abyss, which is just like their demon summoning circle.
Oh, portal, right, yeah.
Presumably granted by Emu, it's like fast travel, has a mark. They have to have a mark to traverse the abyss. They were talking about that when kidnapping the children. They're like, we can't take them back through the abyss. We need to spirit them away via a boat because they don't have the mark. So I'm thinking the same mark, probably something Emu grants, is what keeps them immortal as well.
That definitely, yeah, that all kind of lines up. The mark and the abyss and all that. So Robin grabs Summers here, and he's he spikes her with his thorn fruit. And I think as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot she can literally make entire humans out of with her powers now. And he's like, that conniving vixen set me up. Um, he's like, 10 seconds left. His voice. It's like, time to speak up, Jarul. Make sure he hears the kid's voice, Gunko. I started getting scared here because Oda would kill a child in this way. I do not think there is. I think he potentially might go through with it. There's been some tragedy and some darkness in One Piece, and I was legitimately worried here. Like, is the thing. Like, I was never like, it is not the kind of story where I think, oh, he'll never throw a kid off. Like, he'll never have a kid jump off the clouds and die. Like, I'm like, maybe, like, Oda might do it. I don't know.
Also, she's like the bravest kid. I think Oda knows. While I didn't think she would die, this did like hit me in the feels because I think I think Oda knows how to make like a character crying resonate with the audience.
He's the best.
Like,
he draws the best crying characters of anyone.
It's a great crying face, but also like I think most people, when a kid is putting on a brave face in a bad situation for like everyone else, that's like a very sad thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He knows how to hit, and it's the same with it like in Wano when that little girl's dad, who had the smile,
gets
like crucified. Like that was also immensely sad. Like it's Oda just knows how to like make character sadness always resonate with the audience.
It's kind of an underlooked skill of Oda's because I would say he often doesn't draw extreme close-ups. I mean, like if you look at like even here, it's like the extreme close-ups we get are small panels, right? Like, okay, there's like one kind of close-up here, another of Robin. Like, they're all Robin in this chapter, but when you get a close-up, it's like a smaller thing. There's not a whole lot of face close-ups, but then like when he does do it, like I think both of these are great. Like she talks about like, I love the library, the books, and the teachers of schools. Like, I think I should fall instead. Don't worry. Like, if we lose the school and the library in order to stop me from falling off the branch, that would be really sad and make everyone upset. It's like, I'm a lucky girl. I bet everything will turn out fine. But I really like his crying too, because there's different, like, she's like scared, but, kind of trying to make people rest easy and understand that, like, it'll be okay. This is the right choice, self-sacrifice thing. And then Jarul down here is like angry, mad, but also crying and sad. Like, it's just great. Like, the emotion is great.
Yeah. Oda hits with like all of his emotional beats. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Jarul decides that they will burn the library and set fire to the school to save the children.
Yep.
The right decision, of course, but
yep. He says, set fire to the school, burn down the library, and yeah, he's like, yes, sir. He's like, Robin, do something. And we get this, we get like a zoom, a slice, and this I think reinforces kind of Mark thing. As Summers here's like, it's not coming back. And he's like, it's been a while, and we get like a Scopper Kaban. Yeah, and he's like, you fucked with the wrong old man. It's cool.
I love. This is what another thing I like about One Piece is like, I love how many influential old ass dudes there are.
Yes.
Like both Summers and Scopper are just these old dudes who, and they don't even look like special old dudes. They just look like normal old guys.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I like about Kizaru. He just looks like a guy. He just looks like a unique looking guy, but he doesn't look badass or anything. He's badass because you see him like via his actions being badass. But like most of these people just look, I don't know, weird and normal, I guess.
It is definitely a testament to, again, Oda's skill of just character design in general. But it's also like so many things kind of in the shonen genre focus so much on like children and teenagers and young adults, and then occasionally you'll get someone who's like 35 or 40 as kind of an instructor level. But if there's an old guy, it's like one. Like, how many old guys are in Dragon Ball? It's like Master Roshi, and there might be one or two more. Like, there's not a whole lot of old people in this genre.
Yeah, I just Master Roshi really, and I guess if before people get technical, I guess Goku and Vegeta are old. They just look forever young, but
Yeah, I mean,
I don't count that.
Yeah. I also, so this is something that I bring up that I appreciate about Breaking Bad is everything that that guy does involves people and characters who are often much older than on other TV shows.
Yeah.
If you think about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, like very often the people they're like running into to do things or experiencing parts of the story with are like 60 plus, like as opposed to meeting, someone who's an actor's age, from 25 to 45, right? Which I think is really cool and interesting.
Vince Gilligan, he's
Vince
also
Gilligan, yeah.
I think is a genius, honestly.
Yeah. Vince Gilligan run the One Piece show. Let's do it. But yeah, it's just
a cursed combo.
Yeah. People theorized, I read a little bit of the comments on this. People are theorizing that you see a little bit of the Black Lightning here on Scott Gabon's attacks. People are assuming that this is the Conqueror's hockey into a weapon can potentially hurt the God Knights here was the most of the predictions. So
that would make sense. That would make sense to me.
And it would be a thing that Luffy would have to work hard at, and also maybe the others of like that potentially have conquerors could like, because like Zoro hasn't used conquerors infused
anyone
swords.
But Luffy.
Yeah,
I think Luffy is the only one with conquerors. Everyone else just has regular hockey, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I think some of the others might have conquerors, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I know Zoro can use like the hardening hockey, and Usopp can use the vision hockey, but
yeah,
I think Luffy might be the only guy with conquerors, and Law as well, of course. Like,
yeah.
But no other Straw Hat. I think, I don't know. We'll have to see. But Scopper was cool. I love that character. I love that character when he was introduced. I like how dismissive the Straw Hat crew was of him.
Yeah, because they just don't know who he is.
And they found him annoying, which I loved.
Yeah, they're like, just give us the key,
very
Grandpa.
Irritating.
I think Luffy literally says it. He's like, literally, just give us the key, Grandpa.
And like Scopper at one point was like telling them how bad of an idea it is to free Loki. They're like, yeah, he'll raise the villages, and the death toll will be massive. It's like, and Luffy's like, yeah, it sounds like talking to Zoro. He's like, I think this guy's gonna keep talking, so let's just like keep going.
Yeah.
And Zoro's like, yeah, good idea.
It also brings up a little bit of, at this point, we've met, like, maybe not everyone, but almost everyone from Roger's crew, right? Like, we've met, I'm not going to remember all their names, but we've met this guy who was, like, the number 2 or number 3. We've met his real number 2 way back in...
Riley.
Yeah, Riley. And I think that Scopper seems like a good angle for, like, telling us what happened at either the like God Valley incident or some other thing, or like some more stories about Roger, pirates, and or Zebek or whoever. Like, he's got history in him that maybe he'll tell the Straw Hats about. So I'm curious if we get more of that, because it's like, yeah, like Luffy has met or associated with like the majority of people who used to be on Roger's crew. So
yeah,
this is like
the
last one.
Shanks and Buggy. Yeah. So one interesting thing, now that you mentioned that, it made me remember. So Loki was mentioning, Luffy and Loki were kind of relating to each other. It's like, as a kid, Loki wanted to join a pirate crew as well, but the pirate said, "You're too young," and he said, "No, I want to join anyway. I'll put my life on the line." And he got cut down, like with a sword, by Rocks.
I was about to say, we assume that's Rocks Zebek, whoever you say it. Yep, yeah.
Because like the other shadowy figure says, "You really used a sword on a kid," and the Rock said, "Shut up, Newgate." So that's Whitebeard. And that being Whitebeard, he's on Rox's crew. He's not the leader, so it just has to be Rox.
Yeah, for sure. And it does. Oda over the last 2 or 3 years has been guiding us more and more towards something about Rox and Roger and God Valley, and all of this together is important for current day. And I don't know what that mystery could be, but we are getting hints about it like every 2 or 3 months. There's like we'll get, in the flashback for Kuma, right? Like there was some stuff in there about he was Kuma was there when the God Valley accident happened, or the God Valley incident. We're getting, this is someone from Roger's crew. We got a flashback to Rox, cutting Loki, like you said. So I wonder if we will learn what the importance of all this stuff is, and why Rox is like Rox seems like he's a very important pirate in the kind of latter half of the time skip part. Like he's been brought up a decent amount. So
yeah, he's the captain of like the strongest pirate crew, right? Because it had all of the emperors in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True.
Aside from Shanks, who is on Roger's crew, but and what's interesting is that he's such an asshole, which is the opposite of like Whitebeard, who's more of a compassionate dude. And you could see that when he cut the kid, and Whitebeard's like, "What the fuck, bro?" But I think him being such an asshole kind of makes sense in that he had Big Mom and Kaido in the crew, who are also pricks, right?
Yeah.
So I can see the influence there.
It's definitely it's definitely an idea of like, hey, Roger and his crew are the good guys, and Rox and his crew are the bad guys. Like, with a couple of minor exceptions, but that's kind of what.
But Roger was also on his crew. So I think Rox is like, wasn't Roger on his crew?
I don't think so. No, I'm trying to remember who was on Rox's crew. There were definitely some. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know because
Rox Pirates has Edward Newgate, Lin, Kaido, Shiki, John, Stussy.
Yeah.
A couple other people. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Then Roger was on the opposing side of this.
Yeah.
It makes sense that Shiki's on here. Him and Roger were enemies. Yeah, I don't know. Good chapter. It's nice to see Robin again. Scopper getting some action was cool too. I don't know why I love the name Scopper.
Scopper Gabon is a great name. That's
that's a killer name.
It's just like a weird, but you're like, yeah, I know how to say that. It flows well.
And he decided, hey, my name is too badass. I'm gonna name my son Colin.
Yeah.
What a shitty dad. Man. Come on, bro.
Yep. Cool. I'm excited. Also, like, this is the first fight we've had from Robin since like Wano, right? Her Wano fight where she does devil things. So I think that's cool to see. Robin does not get the chance to fight very often. Like, this is after the time skip. This is like
moments like this.
The third fight, I think, after the time skip in the past 600, 700 chapters. So she's not good.
Robin hasn't really had a fight at all, I would argue. Right? I mean, she has. Wano, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, this one wasn't really a real kind of quote unquote fight. The one in Wano, I think, counts. That was cool.
You're right. Okay, so she has had a fight. More so what I mean is I don't think she's had. The point of her character is to fight.
Right, yeah, it's not.
Even in the Alabasta arc, she didn't really fight.
No, and she's not generally.
Spy stuff.
Yeah, she's definitely more of the thinking. She's not one of the people who is always kind of paired off into a combat situation when the Straw Hats do that, right? It's basically always like, Luffy versus the big guy, and Zoro versus number 2, and Sanji versus number 3, and then, you get,
Usopp's like scrap.
Yeah, Usopp's scrappy fight, but even Chopper has done less. But Chopper had a couple of times pre-time skip where he's part of the fight, and Nami fights against the normal person or runs or whatever. So yeah. But
and then there's Frankie.
It's sort of who
has some funny fight.
Yeah, totally. It's disappointing for me because I think Robin's power is one of the coolest. Being able to just like grow appendages and like make copies of herself and like grow so many appendages you turn into a giant devil lady. Like it's so cool. Like I think it's such a cool, like, interesting power that like has all the levels of it where it's like, oh yeah, I can make arms grow out of myself. I can make arms grow out of other people. I can make the arms into wings. Like, I don't know, it's cool. I like her power.
She's underutilized for sure, but I think she's better used in moments like these where she like jukes an enemy or subverts in some way, rather than like a pure 1v1 fight like in Wano. I think moments like this are cooler.
Yeah.
But you're right, she's underutilized. I want to see more of her do stuff like this.
Cool. Anything else? One Piece we didn't cover here?
No. I had a good time.
Yep, it's great.
One Piece is just a great time all around.
Yep, it's always good. It's great. We need more of it.
I know we said the same thing about Akane, but it's like we read the two goats back to back.
Yeah.
What can we say?
Yeah, good week for manga here. Cool.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of news. Almost none of it is good. I basically have a list of things that have ended or are ending. To Your Eternity is ending in 2 chapters. I think you read some of that, you said, right?
I read half of it.
Okay, yeah. I think you had some issues with it. I don't remember your exact opinion, but
No, I thought, well, yeah. I thought it had a really strong start, and then it petered off. I lost interest because
yeah.
of some story beats going in dumb
Yeah.
directions in my opinion.
But that's a pretty popular one. Machi no Buro ended. That is a comedy that one of the
Ooh.
funniest things in Jump Plus. I think maybe the funniest, to be honest.
What a damn shame.
Yeah. Getaway Matsumoto. That was the guy who has to survive for 100 days on a bike running away or whatever. That is ending soon. Shoha Shoten is ending. That's from the Death Note artist. Destroy All Humans, They Can't Be Regenerated. That ended, I think, a week or 2 ago. I think on good terms for that one, but I don't know. And then Sachi's Records of Kindness, that also ended last week or 2 weeks ago. So
that was really funny.
Yeah, that was another good one.
Sachi's Book of Revelations. Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah, so lots of stuff kind of on its way out. So opening up some space and excited to kind of see what the new stuff is. The only piece of news I had here is we got a Steel Ball Run anime teaser. So JoJo fans were in for what is by most people considered the best JoJo arc. So
really, okay.
Yeah, I'm really curious to read it, but I read a little bit of part 5, and I'd have to get all the way through part 5 and part 6 to get to Steel Ball Run, which is 7. And I think you can just pick up Steel Ball Run and read it, but I don't know. I'm a completionist and I hate skipping parts, so.
So, okay, it's interesting when people say this is the best arc of JoJo, because I don't know what other people like about JoJo. I know what I like about JoJo, and I'm not sure if that's because I like how stupid and hammy it is. It feels like a B-tier schlock movie, right? And it's just dumb fun. It's intentionally stupid, and it's funny and a good time for that reason.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everyone feels that way about JoJo.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that it's kind of mostly a standalone arc, I think is what a lot of people like about it. Kind of all of the other arcs are really informed by the one before it, right? Like who their dad is, or, part 4 has Josuke in it, and part 5 does too, and or part 5 has the kid from part 4, and part 6 has Josuke and Jotaro in it, and so it's they're all kind of connected together in a way. But from what I understand, part 7 is just its own thing, or kind of maybe starts the 7, 8, 9 run is a little different from 1 through 6. So yeah,
but I guess more what I'm saying is I think the appeal of JoJo is that it's campy and silly.
Right.
And JoJo is so popular that I wonder is that the vibe that everyone appreciates about it, or is this so. Okay, I have to imagine, right? It's too goofy not to be.
Well, and I went and read. I was like, I'll read the Wikipedia plot summary for it. That's impossible. You cannot plot summarize JoJo at all. There's something called spin. He didn't really explain to me what spin was. Jesus Christ is in part 7. His body parts are the quest, the MacGuffins. It's fucking
okay.
weird,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It has to be that everyone feels this way. It has to be that everyone kind of resonates with how they just love how campy and fun it is.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, it's always like that, and there are still better and worse parts of it. So it's I can understand definitely if part 7 is just like all the other parts and campy and fun, but it's the best version. I get that. So.
Okay, yeah, that's more so what I was wondering. It's how do you gauge best and better or worse? It's basically how fun it is, right? How logically, or not logically, but how I guess it all ties together in a good way.
Yeah, because there are definitely sort of in part 3 where it's just a huge journey across the world to get to Egypt, right? There are good, bad, sometimes the bad guys they meet are good and interesting, and the sort of walls that stand in the way of JoJo and his crew are more fun and more interesting and more well thought out and executed on, and some of them are less fun. So yeah,
I see.
And
yeah,
it's the same in kind of part 4. Part 4 is the one where Kira's in the second half, and that part of the story is for sure way better than the first half of part 4. So
I get you then.
Yeah,
totally makes sense.
Honestly, the part that's good is having a good antagonist in JoJo makes it better. Because Oh
you
god,
have to have a good protagonist or a good antagonist, because I don't think Cars was like the best antagonist, but Joseph was so
Joseph was
goddamn
great.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it made that part good. And there
Yeah.
was like the reverse for the first part, where Jonathan was like such a Boy Scout that he wasn't super interesting, but Dio was incredibly interesting.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah, so you got to have one or the
for
other.
sure. And the thing that everybody, including me, says about part 3, I guess like I didn't love part 3 all that much, but as soon as they get to Egypt and Dio is in the picture, it's massively better than it was when he's not there. Because Dio's such a great
Yeah,
bad guy. So,
yeah. I love Dio. He's just such an unabashed scumbag that, and he's great on screen.
yeah, amazing. Cool. That's it for news. Let's do one more thing, Gautam. What have you been doing this past month?
Yeah, I am pretty much done with Expedition 33. I just have the final mission left, and I literally completed all the side stuff yesterday.
Nice.
A really good game. I think the story is interesting and unique. And the gameplay and combat are super fun. I don't think there's better turn-based combat than this in my eyes. And I think I like it even better than the new Final Fantasy VII turn-based combat. It's that good.
Oh, like the action. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
not really
prefer
turn-based,
this.
but yeah.
Yeah. I guess it.
The like ATB
It
charging
kind of
action.
is. Yeah,
is what you're talking-
ATB charging.
That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
exactly.
That is my actual favorite gameplay of like maybe any game ever. Like I think the ATB
Oh,
action
got
game
it.
is perfect, but I think I would like
I
this too.
prefer this because I just I like timing based things. I like parrying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think another good thing about this game is that every single character is busted, or is you can make them busted.
Yeah.
So if you have a team you like, you don't have to worry about composition really that much. You can just use whatever you like and make them into like a powerhouse team.
Cool.
Uh,
I need to play.
with that said, the girl on the top left is the most busted.
I think she's the one that they nerfed,
girl.
where she was like, yeah, she was doing like 4 billion damage, and she probably needs to do a little less.
They nerfed the redhead in the middle.
Oh, okay.
The one in the top left is still like insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, great game. You guys should check it out if you haven't already, but I'm sure everyone has gushed about it already.
Yeah, it's on my list. I need to do it.
Yeah.
I have done a lot of
Bruce?
stuff in the past month. I like completely beat Fire Emblem Sacred Stones again. I caught up on Kaijin Fugeki. They're like dancing. It's interesting. I want to see it animated more than anything. But I thought I'd bring this because I don't think we're going to talk about it on the show. This is a new manga, and this is called Magical Girl and Narco Wars. We both read this,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is the weirdest. I don't even know. The entire chapter is like a narco guy getting sort of found out and turned on, and then a magical girl shows up and murders everyone. And I don't know. I think everyone should go read it because it's just wild.
I love this backdrop, by the way. The colors are beautiful. What a good color spread. But
Yeah.
I think this would have worked better as a one shot, because I don't know how you can make a long running series about Magical Girl DEA.
Yeah. Well, it might be a short running series. I mean, it is Jump Plus. They don't usually go, years and years. But yeah, slaughtering drug dealers is her favorite pastime. So
yeah, great.
This is a different subversion of the, if you were into Madoka Magica, this is, instead of subverting, I don't know, it just subverts magical girls are nice and good people trying to do good things with, I'm going to murder a bunch of drug dealers. So
it is a funny spin on it. It's but I do think that Magical Girl subversions are the new Magical Girl. Like, it's not subversive anymore, because all Magical Girl properties that I see nowadays are all a dark twist on Magical Girl stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's more subversive nowadays to just play it straight.
We are basically in the 80s comic book version of Magical Girls, which to expand on that, in the 80s, all comic books were dark. And the 90s too, and a lot of that was off of the back of Tim Burton's Batman and other stuff like that. And it just, they got a lot more violent, they got a lot more dark, and so like, and it was a specific pushback against how sort of bright and happy the comics were in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s. Right, it's all kind of bright and happy in underpants, and then in the 80s and 90s, people were like, okay, we're comic books are edgy now. Batman has knives or whatever. And this is the same kind of like, okay, magical girls for 25, 30, 40 years were nice, and then Madoka happens, and now it's like, yeah, every magical girl thing is a subversion now. Probably not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's like it stops being subversive because that's like
It's the norm now, yeah. And definitely it's the same, like, if you picked up any random comic in, 1989, it was dark and edgy. Like, just, the chances are it's dark and edgy. Just so you pick up a magical girl manga now, the chances are it's a subversion of some kind. Like, it's not a normal... Yeah, I mean, we're not really in the space that would have a normal magical girl manga. I'm sure they do exist, but they are not as popular.
Also, I don't think... The thing is, it's like, I don't think we would be reading them.
Well, yeah, that's definitely... We are not in the circles.
They were too old for it. It's, it's just like normal magical girl stuff is like Cardcaptor Sakura.
Yes.
And the target demographic is like 10-year-old girls.
For sure, yeah.
It's just something that won't be interesting to us.
I do read Magilumiere, which is magical girls business girls.
Yeah.
Which again is another subversion, not really a darker one, but a different one. But
that's a good subversion on this.
It is a good series, so yeah.
Well, not to say that dark magical girls are a bad subversion. It's just a bit played out.
For sure, yeah.
But yeah. What'd you think? What'd you think of drug dealing killer magical?
So like real talk, I thought it was way too long. It spends the whole time like getting to the interesting part where it's a magical girl killing narcos, and the most of it is like sticking with this guy who's like a mid-level boss, and he's trying to deal with all his underlings and feeling sad about himself, and it was a lot of like, I get that you kind of have to set up the joke. It felt like way too much setup for me, and I thought it was just okay. But I don't know. I think this is one that definitely like the big surprise is at the end of the chapter, and this is page 1, so it's at the start and the very end of the chapter. So seeing how it continues after this could be interesting. You never know.
She's going after Heisenberg. That's the end. That's the end goal of this series.
Yeah,
it's just a Breaking Bad tie-in.
Yeah, cool. Anything else? Or are we good to get out of here?
Nah, that's about it. Let's get out of here.
Let's go. Cool. Hey, thank you again, everyone, for listening or watching. Don't forget to leave us feedback, comments, upvote, thumbs up, all that jazz. Check out Twitter and Patreon, link in the description. And thank you for being with us yet again this week.
Goodbye.
And don't forget to read more manga.